the floor of the CME Group, this is Danny Riley on this Wednesday, February 10th. Again, we're seeing a lot of big movement in all sorts of places this morning, and it's got a lot to do with headlines out of the Fed and some of these economies in Europe that are just, the unemployment rates are just, like, I'm going to start reading off some of this, but you know, it'll be hard to get these markets really going on the upside until we resolve some of these issues like what we're seeing in Greece and Spain and Portugal, where unemployment rates are anywhere from, 15 to 20%. So, maybe a little lower in some cases, but you know what, the bottom line is that after the credit crisis started 3 years ago, there was a big push to put money back into the system to try to get things rolling again. Well, they've got things rolling in the United States somewhat, but the back end of this is Europe, and that's really where all the central banks are located, and again, that's where the euro currency is. This morning, some of the Fed statements coming out of Bernanke, the main headline was that they're going to start to move up the Fed funds rate. This put the S&P into an automatic sell, the dollar skyrocketed, and the euro went from like 16 higher to over 100 lower. Now, this is really the trade that Jason Carter was talking about yesterday, selling the euro when it goes up. And the big foolery of this is that people think that once the dollar goes up that things are going to normalize a little bit here, but it's exactly the opposite. The euro currency has become one of the predominant currencies in the world behind the dollar. So whenever you get a sharp move like that, it's going to be reactionary into the stock market and into the bond market. As far as the rest of the day is concerned, you know what? We're in this kind of situation where we don't want to get overly negative with the stock market, but we don't want to get overly friendly either. Right now we've had this big run up. The markets have started to come down a little bit. In order for us to really be back in the camp on the long side, we really have to see a little bit more of this back and fill action that we've been talking about over the last couple of days. And to tell you the truth, today's price action isn't indicating very much of that. As the news came out this morning, the S&P broke down like from the 1070 level all the way down to the 1056 level, a level that we actually put out. And I'm sorry, I'm going back and forth off the boards. That's just the way it's going to have to be for me. But the bottom line here is that the markets have had a little rally. Now they've had another sell-off. So we really kind of think we're kind of coming into a decision for the S&P going into the end of the week. Again, our levels are pretty critical. 69.50 in the crude oil. Jason, what level are you looking in the euro currency? On it?
138, 138.5.
Yeah, on the upside he's looking at 130, 138, 138.5, and in the S&P we're still looking at that 1040, 1041 level, which we pulled off for one of our clients the other day on the desk. You know what? We're in a big snowstorm here in Chicago. From last night, or from Monday night to this morning, there was over 14 inches of snow. This snow is going toward the East Coast, into Washington again, and into New York. Later in the week, we go into the long weekend, the holiday, and the exchange is going to have a relaxed dress code. No big deal about that. But you know what? What we're kind of setting the tone here for is a quieter market. The weather, the euro currency, no decisions out of the EU about what they're going to do with Greece. It's all kind of adding up to a lot of nothing here on the downside. Anyways, for the rest of the day, we kind of expect that kind of back and forth trade with no volume. Right now, we've got about 9,000 big S&Ps, and we've got about 1.3 million minis. Over in the euro and the 10-year note options, their volume's a little lower. Over in the euro dollar options, it's about the same. But you know what? We can't give you much from here. I think everybody knows what these headlines are out there. We're just doing what we do every day. We'll be back tomorrow.